pulled the trigger. I guess pun intended in this case. Pun intended. President Trump pulled the trigger and took out 3 nuclear facilities in Iran. Now, I kind of want to, I want to get your opinion on this. I want to get your opinion. So we're going to open up the phone line. Maybe we can put the number down here at the bottom to give you the phone number so you can give me a call and you can call me. Look, I don't bite hard and I'm always open for different opinions. If you think that President Trump was in the wrong, by all means, give me a call and tell me why you think President Trump was in the wrong. I like to hear it. I like to know why you think President Trump was in the wrong. And a lot of people are saying President Trump, he's supposed to get Congress approval before he can do anything like this, which is actually not true. Now, people heard the talking point and they're pushing it out there. They're telling everyone, oh, he's supposed to get Congress approval before he can do this. He's not supposed to be able to do this. He should have never done this. Well, it's interesting that the same people that are screaming that about President Trump, they didn't say anything when Obama was doing. And I believe this is my personal opinion. I haven't seen any documentation on this. But I believe the reason why Obama was doing all the bombing that he was doing in the Middle East is because Obama wanted the regime that he wanted in. That's what he wanted. He was getting rid of this other regime, this other fraction in the Middle East that he did not want there. Now, are there other reasons? I would love to get Obama to put a statement out there. Why did he bomb him? And see, a lot of people, they didn't have problems with Obama bombing certain places in the Middle East because they knew that Obama was not on the side of Israel. And because they knew that Obama was not on the side of Israel, they had no problems with him doing the bombing that he was doing. Fast forward to today. The Democrats are upset with President Trump. Why are they upset with President Trump? They're upset with President Trump because he acknowledges that we are an ally to Israel. He has no issues about it. He doesn't disagree with it. And the most interesting thing to me is that the Democrats they're acting like President Trump takes answers from Israel. You even have some of these people that call themselves MAGA and, of course, Make America Great Again, MAGA first, America first, which I'm 100% America first. But I recognize that Israel is our ally. And I've seen so many people that I have a lot of respect for. And even still now, I have a lot of respect for them. And they're anti-Israel. They don't like that the fact that President Trump did this. And you know what? President Trump didn't do this for Israel, which a lot of people keep saying that, oh, yeah, President Trump did this for Israel. He didn't do this for America, or he didn't do this for us for our benefit. He did this for Israel. And because he did this for Israel, basically saying that Israel controls President Trump. This is essentially what they're saying, that Israel is controlling President Trump. Benjamin Netanyahu gave President Trump the order to do it, and that's the only reason why it happened, which, of course, this all talking point, there's no video, there's no documentation to say otherwise. But they're using these talking points, trying to say that President Trump is taking orders from Israel. So where's the proof of that? Where's the proof of it? It's just like when I gave an example of Obama, the reason why Obama was doing all of the attacks, and I made it clear, it's my opinion, there's no documentation, there's nothing on it, is because Obama wanted to get rid of that fraction that was there and put in the regime that is currently there. Remember, Obama, and I got to thinking about this over the weekend a lot. Remember, Obama put how many, was it $1.8 billion or something like that, of cash onto a plane and flew it into Iran in the dark of night? Remember that? And then everybody's going, well, but that was their money. That was their money. If it was their money, and why would they do it in the middle of the night? Why not just do a wire transfer? Just say, here's the money. Here, Why put I think, don't quote me to it, but I think it was $1.8 billion, put them on pallets, cash on pallets. I wonder what that looked like. Put it on pallets and then flew it over to Iran. Why would he do that? If it's their money, then why even be secretive about it? But they were secretive about it. That's where the problem lies. And of course, we got radical Democrats and these people in the country that call themselves Americans, and they're all upset with President Trump because President Trump basically put his foot down and said, no more. Said, no more. We're not going to have this any longer. We're not doing it. We're not doing it. Okay, I do have some things I want to share with you. And again, I do have the phone line open. So if you want to give me a call, 319-527-3453. I would like to hear from you, your opinion. And you have every right to call me and tell me, say, Will Johnson, you're wrong. You're wrong in this. You're absolutely wrong in this. President Trump is wrong. He started this war. This is an act of war that he's done. By all means, call me. I meant to get this picture that I had here and share it with everybody. And I'll just read it to you. This was a meme that someone created. And in this meme, it says, know the facts. That's what it says at the top. Know the facts. Trump did not declare war. There's been no declaration of war. And if President Trump wasn't even calling for wars. And President Trump made it clear that he's not trying to take us into war. But everyone is looking at this as the opportunity to try to say that President Trump is taking us to war. Everyone that is against President Trump. Heck, you even have Marjorie Taylor Greene now, which kind of somewhat took me for surprise. It kind of somewhat took me surprised that Marjorie Taylor Greene is coming out, speaking out against President Trump because she's mad, because she's anti-Israeli as well. And I still don't get it. And these are people that call themselves Christians. And I know Marjorie Taylor Greene personally. It says the president has authority to conduct military actions as commander-in-chief. Obama did it. Bush did it. Clinton did it. In 2016 alone, Obama dropped 26,171 bombs. And the Democrats still claim he never started a war. Iraq, all of this. They said Obama didn't start any wars. But they're saying President Trump is starting wars. Now, my concern about what's happening, and this is before even President Trump took out the nuclear facilities. And the way President Trump did it was masterful. Absolutely beautiful. President Trump sent a message to the world saying, do not mess with us. Do not mess with us. The rest of the world is looking at, wow, President Trump did this. And the reports are saying that President Trump did this without a single plane getting fired upon. Not a single one of them. Nothing. It was like it was just a clean flight and just took it out. And again, one more time, President Trump did not do this to the people of Iran. They did this to the terrorists in Iran that's been running the country. There is a difference. There's a difference. So if you're not scared, And you want to look, I don't bite. I want to hear from you, especially if you think that President Trump was in the wrong, because there's a lot of people. Oh, President Trump, he lied to us. He promised us no wars. We're not in a war. We're not in a war. There's been no declaration of war implemented. He promised us. So by all means, call me. Now, I think the only reason why they, people that disagree with President Trump, disagree with me right now, I think the only reason why they wouldn't call is because just maybe, President Trump didn't call for war. Didn't call for war. And we know that he didn't call for war. That's the most amazing thing about this. And so if you don't want to call and talk to me about that, what about the sleeper cells that are possibly in the country? What about the sleeper cells? Now, we've been talking about the sleeper cells before, like I mentioned, before President Trump took out these nuclear facilities. The Biden administration, along with the Democrats, they opened up the doors, the gateway to allow all of these people to come into the country unvetted. And I will never forget it. There was a hearing, and Mayorkas was asked a question. And I need to pull that video out. I need to find that video. And I'm sitting there watching this, and it's like unbelievable. They were asking Mayorkas about the known terrorists that came into the country. Where are they? Did you at least put ankle bracelets on them? Meaning, they can't cut them off. They can't take the ankle bracelets off. Or if they do, it's like in a sentencing alert or something like that to, hey, what are you doing? Where you at? They didn't do that. They were asking Mayorkas, where are these terrorists that are known terrorists? Where are they currently? Did you deport them out the country? The answer in the video in the hearing was no. Well, where are they? Do you have them detained? The answer to that was no. Well, where are they? They release them into the population without the ankle bracelet. So the sleeper cells are here. They're here. And if the Democrats, what I truly believe, the Democrats working with these terrorist organizations outside of the country, because the Democrats are the ones that let them here for a reason, because they want total chaos. They need the chaos. I've said this repeatedly. Even before the ICE raids were happening, I said that the Democrats want the chaos in the country. They believe chaos and destruction works to their benefit. Summer of Love was a prime example of that. The Summer of Love. So they want chaos and destruction in the United States of America. So I believe, and I was wondering, when are they going to activate them? Could they activate them now? And once they do activate them, they're not going to take responsibility for having these terrorist sleeper cells in the United States of America. Oh, no. Even though the borders are, and Mayorkas and Christopher Wray and Garland, all of them let them in. Joe Biden didn't even know. The auto pen was making it happen. I don't think Joe Biden knew about it. They kept Joe Biden kept them out of the loop. So there's a video really quick when President Trump was on stage with Joe Biden during a debate, and Joe Biden was blah, 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 blah. You remember the clip? And then President Trump says, I don't know what he said in that last sentence. I don't even think he knew what he said in that last sentence, talking about the border. He was trying to say something about the border, but he couldn't get it out. And then President Trump said, all you had to do is leave it in place. What I had done. All you had to do is leave it in place. But Joe Biden is saying that the border's secure and they're getting ready to implement more security on the border. Joe Biden didn't have a clue. The auto pen was doing all of it. They kept Joe Biden in the dark while he was in the White House. Joe Biden didn't have a clue. So they brought him into the country. And what they're going to end up doing is when these sleeper cells are activated, they're going to blame President Trump. If President Trump never would have taken out the nuclear facilities in Iran, this wouldn't be happening here in America. Blame Trump. Our TDS says it was Trump. It was Trump. Y'all know what I'm saying is true. They're going to blame President Trump for all of it. Just like they tried to blame President Trump for the summer. Actually, they did. They didn't try. They were blaming President Trump for the summer of love, for all of the destruction. It had nothing to do with Trump. They used George Floyd as a reason to go out and tear up the country. They used it to tear up the country. So by all means, I want to hear from you. 319-527-3453. If you think that President Trump was wrong, I want to hear from you. Look, I can talk to these radical leftist lunatic liberals on the street and get along. So if you're conservative and you disagree with President Trump, we should still be able to communicate with one another. Let's not be like the liberals and just shut down and not have communication with one another. Does this make sense? Let's not be like them. Let's agree to disagree, but have civil discourse. All right. We got some phone calls, Shannon?
Yeah, we have Carl from Arkansas.
Awesome. Hey, Carl, thank you so much for the call.
Well, how you doing, brother?
Man, you know what? It's interesting times to be alive. How are you doing?
It's a great day to be alive in America, ain't it?
Yes,
Finally
sir.
got a president standing up for the world.
Thank you. Thank you.
We've had this going on actually since Clinton and Obama's and all that, but Biden surely didn't make anything better. What Trump done? He finally stood up for all these Americans that has been terrorized or thrown up or even chastised by death to Americans.
Yes.
He actually stood up, and he stood up for one of our allies, which is Israel.
Yep.
Which is something that Biden was.
Let me just add to that real quick, and you continue with our ally, which is Israel, which is not perfect. Okay, no one is saying that they're perfect, right? No one is. We're not perfect by any means. But sorry, go ahead, continue.
No. Which Biden wouldn't even do, and that's what's allowed this war with Ukraine and Russia to go on for so long, because we sit there in the background, okay, fund this war and all that, and it's going on, and everybody wonder why it can't stop. Well, when you feeding into something but not stepping up to the plate, what's going to happen? It's going to go on.
Yeah.
Well, what Trump has done, he finally stood up to the plate and said, hey, Iran, you're not going to take and get these nuclear weapons ready. We gave you 60 days. We gave you 2 weeks to talk to us.
Yep.
You've done nothing but shut us out. Hey.
So let me ask you this, Carl, because a lot of people are saying that there's been no evidence and no proof of Iran having any nuclear material to get to the point to where they can have a nuclear bomb. But you have the anti-Israeli United Nations. They're against Israel. They were saying that Iran was close to having a nuclear bomb. Anti-United Nations or anti-Israel United Nations. They were saying it. Even Iran, they were saying that they were close. So should we say that they're lying to us? That they're closer to having it? I'm really kind of at a loss here.
Man, we've been knowing that they've been getting close. I mean, this is no secret. Just like the UN, United Nations, sat there and tried to cover up China with this COVID stuff, which that's a whole new topic that we won't go down. But now NATO has come out and said they've got it, or they're getting ready to have it. Okay, yeah. Israel said it.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Now the U.S. inspectors through through NATO said they have it. So how much more proof you need?
Well, you know what? I think they wanted them to use it on Israel for the proof. And you know what would have happened if they would have used it on Israel, saying, "Oh, here's the proof." They use it on Israel. They would have been upset with President Trump at that point, saying, "Well, why didn't you do anything to stop this?"
Yeah, you knew about it. Why didn't you stop it? Yeah.
So they put President Trump in a position where, like, do we wait and find out after they use it, or do we go ahead? Because they've already been saying that they're going to use it. They've already been saying, this is Iran. We took them for the word.
Exactly. So. And if you don't mind me saying one more thing, Will.
Sure.
You touched bases on something that is really near and dear to my heart. You're talking about the Democrats and the chaos and just division between the American people.
Yes.
that could never be ever so more true, because look at the deal going on with California with these no kings and all this and that's going on.
Yep.
I mean, it just total anarchy.
It really is. It really is.
They don't want unification. They want division.
100%. 100%. Because with chaos and division, they can conquer. They can keep all of us fighting with one another and not coming to the goal of being successful, prosperous. As long as we're at each other's throats, they can control the situation. And that's what it is, ultimately, what they want.
You're 100% correct, Will, and I'm behind you 100%.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much for the call. What part of Arkansas are you in?
I'm in Montgomery County, which is Mount Ida.
Oh, okay. Okay. Yeah, I was out of Little Rock.
Okay, yeah, you was about 65 miles northwest of me, or northeast, I'm sorry.
Yep. It's been a minute. Hey, Carl, thank you so much for the call.
You have a good one, Will.
You too.
All right, Will, and we have another caller. The last four numbers are 6614.
Hello, caller. What is your name? Where you calling from?
Hey, well, this is Rashid. I'm from Virginia.
Rashid?
Yes, sir.
From Virginia. Okay, so tell me, what do you think about all of this?
I have a lot of thoughts. I mean, I supported Trump both elections, and I think we're at the point where I think there's a lot of overlap, and we're playing ping pong with the truth.
Okay.
I'm a diehard Christian. I mean, my wife and I, we actually pastor a church too, and I'm into Second Temple Jewish history, all that kind of stuff. Been to seminary and everything. I have some challenges with, one, the theological point of view that everybody's putting on when they talk about, because we're Christian, we blanketly support Israel in some of their actions, and we can go through a whole history behind why I may think that. And I think there's a lot of videos coming out about that.
Let me just say this real quick before you go to your question. Sure. And you're right. We shouldn't just because we're Christians and we support, because we just shouldn't just jump in there for everything that they do. I'm complete agreement with that. And a lot of people don't know this. Majority of the people in Israel are atheists. A lot of people don't know this.
Yes. And they most of them Ashkenazi, and then you have your Kabbalists, those a lot of folks that are there. And you have a lot of Christians. I've been to Israel 8 times myself throughout the years. So, and I have a really good friend of mine who actually lives in the Gaza Strip. She went to high school with me, so I keep in contact with her. What's going on? But we don't even really match with a lot of our views, I guess, religiously. But I still love her to life. We still talk and ask how she's doing, the family's doing. But the problem that I have with this is that it just, to me, with the administration, which I support, we just did this pivot. We were doing all these other things, and then it just appears like when the Epstein files came up, it was like this major pivot. We're seeing a lot of the technocrats and all the different people within the bureaucracy of the government. It just seems like everybody that I respected so much, I'm kind of questioning. So I'm I'm not questioning them negatively because I still respect them, like Dan Bongino, love them. I worked under Cash Patel because I spent 28 years in the military, and I was at the U.S. Central Command doing some things there, and he was at the time one of the chief of staff, and so I was on some meetings and listened, and everything's just kind of weird right now.
Let me ask you this: being a pastor, would you say that we're seeing biblical end time events?
I think we're at the beginning of it. We're not there yet.
Right.
We're seeing what Jesus was talking about. You hear wars, rumors of wars, nations against nations with people. If you go to the original Greek, that word nations is ethnos. And that word ethnos basically is culture. So you're seeing culture wars, and you see kingdoms against kingdoms, which would actually be the actual, like Iran and Israel, and, and all these other different things. So we're seeing the cultural wars. We're seeing all the different aspects of these things happening. And I believe it's we're getting there, and we're just not there just yet.
Yeah.
But it's coming.
Yeah. And
I think
let me say this really quick. There's that section in there too, where it says that all nations will come down on Israel.
Yeah.
And
sure.
it's interesting that I'm seeing a lot of people, not you, but I'm just saying a lot of people that are Christian that are saying we should just completely walk away from Israel, allow Iran to annihilate them, which is wrong. I think all war is wrong. You know, not a single life should be taken. Right? This is me saying this. But I think Israel was put in a position where they had no choice. And then when you had Iran saying that they're going to do the same thing to America, even if Israel wasn't even in the mix, Iran was still going to be, coming after us.
Yeah. And also,
so can I bring up
go ahead.
Okay, go ahead.
I was just going to say,
go ahead.
Regarding the end times, we're also seeing the great deception, around the world.
Yes.
And because of that great deception, God said that he was going to have to shorten the days. So I know when we say we're not there yet, of course, we're not all the way to the end, but we definitely are in the end times. We are watching the signs. We are watching for these things that are happening and unfolding. Now, how close are we? That depends if this turns into World War III or not, honestly. It depends if it goes into world peace. I mean, it depends all those things. But we're definitely, I would say, we are there. I do believe, and Will does too, that the Antichrist is alive and well right now.
Don't know who that is, just to be clear.
Yeah.
But I have my opinion. Yeah, we have our opinion that that the Antichrist is here.
And I think that with all the people theology and all the smart people, even way smarter than me, the scholars out there, nobody actually really knows. Even Christ doesn't even know when he's coming back. So I know we're going off of the times, the dispensation, and things.
Well, that's the things that God told us to look. They told us to look for.
And we rightfully so. But let me bring this up about like Israel. So the challenge that I have is when I look at the background of even Netanyahu, the Ashkenazis, they're indigenous from the Greco-Roman period, and formulated in Germany, and they have their, as I would say, their descendant ties to the Sanhedrin, so they hated Christ. So that's Netanyahu's father, and all the things, because I've looked up on the internet to find out like exactly what does he believe, and I just don't know, and I'm asking those questions because all of a sudden now Iran is a picture and is an issue, which they've always been.
Yeah.
And so when we go back to the 70s and with Iran and with Jimmy Carter, all the way up until now, Obama gave money, Biden gave money, and then all the other war hawks, if you will, and other people that have interests in keeping these wars going. Smedley Butler even wrote War is a Racket, and we kind of understand how this military-industrial complex actually works. I just think that there's a lot of background stuff that we don't see, we don't know, that's pushing a lot of these things forward.
I agree with that. There's so much that we don't even have a clue about, and I think, be honest with you personally, if we knew all of the crazy stuff that they're actually implementing, I think we would probably have rioting in the street immediately.
You know what I think? I think that we're talking about people. You're talking about people.
Yeah.
And we're never going to understand. You're not going to find a good person who's doing all the right things. We're never going to find that. And that's why I think for us, we are just looking for the signs now. We're going, you know what? We don't know. We know that there's a spiritual battle. We know that there's great deception. And so we're watching those things and according to the Bible. And I can't sit here and tell you and judge the actions that Netanyahu and all these people are taking because one, we don't know. None of them are perfect. Of course, none of them are making great moves. And so we're just looking to the Bible going, you know what? We're just going to go here and we're just going to focus on what God says. He supports Israel. We're going to support Israel, not the people, not that they're great people, not that their history, none of that. But we're going to go, that's God's land. That's where he's going to have his final battle. And so we don't want them annihilated, right?
And I agree with you. However, I think we still need to use discernment in how we do that. Even though we want to use the biblical references, even the scriptures talked about Jeroboam. Jeroboam said he became king over Israel after Solomon. And the scriptures tell us that he led Israel into sin, We don't follow that. And so even as believers, I still think we need to still be more discerning in how we break, or how we define what's all going on right now.
So,
and be very careful in how we approach it. I support Israel 1,000%.
Yeah.
I'm not denying that part, but we have to be very careful of how we actually follow and do what they do.
So when we say discernment, of course we're using discernment, but in that case, how can we justify anything that everybody's doing? I mean, God doesn't like wars. He doesn't like us hating each other. He tells us to love our enemies.
There's been times in the Bible where God has had wars happen.
God used war.
Absolutely.
Yeah, God has used war.
He used it. Yeah, I mean, he created armies.
So yeah,
he created kings.
Right. He has used wars.
Right.
Let me say this. So, and we got more calls on here, and I want to thank you so much for taking the time to give me a call. There's a reason why there's a certain group of people in the world trying to destroy Israel, and it's because I believe. In the Bible, it tells us when Christ returns, he's going to set his foot on the Mount of Olives. We all know where the Mount of Olives is located. Satan knows this. So Satan is like, he wants to try to destroy it to prevent it from happening. And I think ultimately that's what it's coming down to. And a lot of people, and I'm not saying that's you, I'm not, of course, but there's a lot of people that don't even think about that. Could that be the reason why they're trying to destroy it? Because all they have to do is just leave them alone. Just leave people alone. Let people live their lives. But for some reason, there's thousands upon thousands of rockets constantly being shot into Israel. And the world doesn't seem to have a problem with that. They just call it, it's just fireworks. It's okay for that to happen. But President Trump take out 3 facilities, not the people, but 3 facilities. And now the world is like, what's going on? What's going on?
Yeah. I see what Rashid is saying, though. It's like, how do we, decipher all of this? Do you think it is up to us to decipher it? Are you struggling with taking a side? I guess.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, we have to take a side. And the thing about it is that one of the things that we are Christian, one of our primary missions right now is to preach the gospel. 2 things. I think that one of the I heard somebody say today, he's Wise Disciple. He has a really good podcast. And he mentioned that he asked the question, should Christians today pivot and shift the evangelism strictly to Jews? Because that's whom they are, the promised people, but we also obtained the promise as well. We've been grafted in. And should that happen? Because when you go to Romans, what Paul was talking about, all Israel. So who is all Israel? Who is Paul talking about? Who are the Jews? Paul stated in Romans, he said, the true Jew is one whose heart is right with God. That's how we discern who's really who, and then how all Israel is going to come back together again. That includes the Gentiles as well.
Yeah.
And I think we also have a responsibility to minister to our Jewish brothers and sisters that are out there to preach the gospel so they can see who the Mashiach is, who the Messiah is, who the one they've been searching for so many years that they just haven't seen. But the scripture tells us that it's Christ who removes the veil. So we're supposed to be the agents, as it tells us in 2 Corinthians 5:20, that is God making his appeal. We're ambassadors for Christ, where God is making his appeal through us to the world to be reconciled back to God. And that world basically includes our Jewish brothers and sisters that are out there. And so I think these are the questions that, as a Christian community, a biblical community, we should be discussing and not picking political sides here and now, because all this stuff is the same. It was the same back in Genesis as it is right now. It's just we're seeing all the same things that happen in different time frames. We're just seeing it in 2025.
Isn't that crazy too? Yeah. It's like you read the Bible and you're like, it sounds like they're talking about the people today.
The same thing.
Yeah, it is. It is. But, and especially if you go back and read the books, read Acts. Yeah. Oh my goodness. Yeah. The people, it's like we didn't learn. It's like a society, we have not learned nothing. I was reading Acts this maybe a couple months ago, and I'm like, am I reading the newspaper? I'm actually reading the Bible. And they're doing it. We're doing the exact same things today. Like we ain't learned nothing.
But you know what Vodi Bakum said? I don't know if you listened to Vodi Bakum or heard him. Vodi Bakum said, and he said something that I thought was so profound. He says, basically all the things that we're seeing, what it basically tells us is the Bible is true. Period. That should give us all believers the consolation that the word is true, because we're actually seeing these things. We're kind of trying to put the pieces of the puzzle together.
Yeah.
But that's why even in the prophecy, you know, we prophesy in part, and, you know, and then we know in part, you know what I'm saying? So we're trying to put that together. And I think that the division part with us arguing with each other, I'm watching the comments on different sites and Christians throwing scripture and doing this. And it just gets to be, okay, we can't use scripture as in that sense as a weapon. We have to we can't be debaters of the word.
Thank you.
We have to defend the gospel.
Yes.
And I think that if I'm talking with you, you may come up with something that I may not agree with, and I'll come up with something. But then if we talk about it a little bit, we can probably come to a shared understanding. And what that does is your joint is supplying to my joint. And okay, it's not a sin for me to disagree with you on some theology and vice versa, but we still brothers in you know, in the Lord, and we can still kind of come together. But then I've learned something new and you learned something new, and maybe your idea, my idea together, it brings a greater picture.
You know, one last thing. You know, I used to say this, that either the Bible is 100% true, or the powers that be are looking in the Bible to make these things happen. Which one is it?
Both.
Right? Which one is it? Are they looking in the Bible? Well, let's look in there. What can we do to get people to believe the Bible? I mean, because it's amazing. So, well, Pastor, thank you so much for taking the time.
Let me throw one quick thing at you. So when you talked about the sleeper cells, Todd Bensman, he's a investigative reporter he came out of Texas. He worked for Texas DPS. He disclosed the Iranian Hezbollah sleeper cells in the United States way back in 2015.
And
look up Unit 910. Unit 910. It'll tell you, because there was a case where they caught one of these sleeper cell persons in New York. They had it was a highly secretive federal case they had. He broke the news story. It's actually on the internet. He's very credible. And I would say look into that. So all the stuff they're saying right now, it's not new.
Yeah,
I've known this. I've been telling folks since 2015 that this was happening. And that's the reason why Trump bombed Soleimani, because that was the time frame when he was in his office, when he won. He said, we're closer to you than we think.
Yeah, I think the big concern now is all the ones that the Biden administration let in. I think that's what the biggest concern is now. Because you're right.
Yeah.
This is not new. It's not new. It's just how many more that they let in. So,
yes, sir.
Sir, thank you so much.
Thank you for bringing me on, sir. I love your show. Love everything you do. I bless God for you, and I pray for your work and that you're doing. And I hope we get a chance to talk in the future.
Yeah, absolutely. God bless.
Great call received. Thank you.
Take care.
All right. Right.
Okay, so we have another call. Let's just go to it. Let's go to the call here, because this young lady's been waiting here for some time. I've known this young lady for some years. We got Linda from California. I met this young lady in California. Linda, you there?
Yes, I am. Hi, Will.
Hey.
Hello, Shannon.
Hello.
Hey, you guys, you said get people that disagree, but you know, when I get those calls once in a while from you and you say, hey, what do you think about this? We're on the same page. And, you know, the gentleman that was just on, he was just so knowledgeable and exactly on the same page, you know.
Yes.
And I just, it blows me away, but it comes down to all this anti-Semitic things that are going on right now, where patriots are so anti-Jewish people. And I think there's bad Jewish, like there's bad Mexicans, like I am, and there's bad blacks.
There's liberal Jewish people, and I don't know why they don't acknowledge that. There's liberal Jewish people, and there's conservative Jewish people. Like, you know, you got conservative Latinos, Mexicans, you got conservative Black people. We're not all liberal.
Right. Not all the Blacks are liberal neither, right?
Exactly.
And I just think, and I think to myself, do they not know this is all meant to be? But a lot of them, if you notice, what really blows me away is when a Christian person is their party, the political party means more to them than their faith, you know, what the Word of God says.
That's deep.
And that's just, I cannot understand that you will literally turn away from what what the Word of God has to say to be okay with your political party. And that blows me away. And I have to, I mean, I'm concerned, but not concerned where, oh God, what are we going to do tomorrow? I know, and I've always have held on to this. I've known it for years. I don't know what tomorrow holds, but I definitely know who holds my tomorrow. And it is the Lord. And the Lord has appointed President Trump to be our president at a time as this. And the Lord he has President Trump. And I'm hoping that President Trump continues to be a servant and listening to the words of wisdom and the word of God, and surround himself with people that are real Christians, because now I'm thinking, really, and I thought you were a Christian? And I'm not, people that first say, oh, well, there you go judging. Well, no, but we have to, in a way, understand who we could depend on. And when I talk to both of you guys, and we're on the same page, when you first mentioned one person that's no longer with us, was not on that page. And I thought this person, and I still think that he was a great man, but he was totally anti-Jew. And I think, what happened? And then I think of the verse where, the word comes, and then some of it falls just on, on rocks.
Deaf ears.
And then it's not, and deaf ears, and it's just not growing. And I think to myself, I have other things, I said bless Israel because that's what's required of us. And I don't want God's wrath. I want God's blessings. I need God's blessings. That's what I live for. I don't want any of the wrath of God upon me at all. And people don't fear the Lord the way they need to. And the political party means more to them. The D by their name means more. And and that's basically it.
I'm sorry, Linda, but even sometimes more than that, clicks mean more to them, right, than either one of those. So,
yeah, it really is. Do you feel, are you accepted there? Yeah. And even yesterday when I was in church, our pastor thinks just like us. And one thing he kept saying is, you might agree with President Trump, you might not. And, I'm in California, right in the Sacramento area. And he says, but we need to still pray for him. And I was watching the people, and half of them prayed because we all think alike. Clapped. And the other half, it's almost like, oh, I don't want to pray, for President Trump. And I think, really? And we're sitting here in the pews together?
Yeah, we're supposed to pray for all of our leaders, even the ones we don't agree with.
We're supposed to pray for
That's the whole point of that. Pray for our leaders, that our leaders will make sound decisions.
Exactly. But it was just amazing. I was watching, and normally our friend Johnny sits in the front. He saves me a spot. He wasn't there, so I had to sit in the back. So I gotta watch. I was watching a lot, just to see by where the word was going. The worship was beautiful, so the Holy Spirit was there. But they were going to be hard to the Holy Spirit.
That was this Sunday?
That was yesterday.
Yesterday.
Yeah, yesterday.
Sunday. So let me ask you, did when you went to church, did they mention what's happening in Iran and Israel at all?
Not by exactly what's happening, just that, what has happened right now. He did mention it because he's pretty much one of those pastors that opened up while, COVID and all that stuff. So he's one of those pastors that stands up. He said, you might not like what President Trump did, but we are to pray for him. And, you may not like what is going on, but we still have to do this. And that's the way he mentioned it. Okay. Normally he says a little bit more.
But he did at least mention it, though. Right?
He did.
Didn't do a whole sermon based on it. And that's fine, right? And I think, I don't think pastors personally, if they want to, they can, but at least mention what's happening. In my church this past Sunday, they mentioned what's happening. Brought up Iran, brought up
they did. They did. He says, we're in a, he did. And at least I was hoping that the people that were there that are not really paying attention to anything, that they literally will go home and think about this. Because when he said this and he read scripture about how we pray for our leaders, and that if we like it or not, President Trump was anointed. God has the last say so when if he was going to be president or not. And I was really bummed about 2020 for, you know, all these years.
Mm-hmm.
And now I get the whole picture for myself, at least.
Oh my goodness.
God
had a plan. Yes, God had a plan.
And I wanted, God, you're not hearing me? Hello, God,
yes,
you know.
God had a plan.
And I always think, thank God, God knows what he's doing,
yes,
you know, because I
yes,
definitely
yes.
don't, you know.
Yes,
I used to pray for twins with my first one. And I think, what was I praying for? You know, thank God he didn't give me twins. And I always say that, you know, so he had a plan and everything is being exposed. And, you know, I've known you guys for years. And when you were in California, you guys became, well, I know Will became conservative in California. I mean, how can that happen in the Bay Area? I mean,
know,
you were working
right?
in the
of
Bay
all
Area.
Places, it's like, wait a minute. I got
of
there.
all
And I'm
places.
Like, yeah, I got there and I'm like, wait a minute, something's not right. I put on the shades. I'm like, look, you know, obey.
Yeah.
Wait a minute, something's not right. I'm like, oh,
yeah,
hold up.
That to me is a testimony that I give to everybody about you. I said, here's a guy that comes from a conservative state, moves to California and becomes, you know, where it's also liberal. We're in Northern Cal. You know, you were working in the Bay Area, and for you to become so conservative, I mean, it was just absolutely. Remember when we went? We were at where did we go with Marco and everybody been to
Was it Sacramento?
I forgot. Google. Remember how they were looking at us just because we had the American flag?
Yeah.
And
like they'd never seen anything like it before. Like, what is that object?
It's that they were. That's exactly the way they looked at us. Like we were aliens walking by with our flag, the American, and everybody was foreign. And I'm thinking, this is what they're hiring here in Google. Oh my God, you know, and then they're probably Democrats right now too, you know. So and it's just that. So I just wanted to say, you know, keep it up. You guys are in my prayers daily. You're speaking for me. And I always say, you know, you are who you are, but if it wasn't for your wife that's got everything together, you know, and I truly believe that. You know, I always say my husband's the head of the house. No, it really is. I always say my husband's the head of the house. I am just the neck that turns the head, you know, and the women, you know, she's got everything for you. Knowing both of you guys, just knowing that you are who you are and you do a great job, but if it wasn't for Shannon, you wouldn't be able to do all this. And she still takes care of the family.
Let me ask you, Hannah, how are you watching it right now?
Well, right now I was on YouTube.
Platform? YouTube? Okay,
yeah,
so
it was from YouTube.
So a lot of people are looking at this. I shared the link to my other page. It's a coalition to stop domestic terrorism, and I'm live on that Facebook page right now. And that Facebook page is able to get stars. It's currently able to get stars. I shared you with all of our, your guys' friends out here. I shared you with all my friends. I mean, my 6th Facebook page, but hello. I just shared you before. Okay, I was going to ask you, can you connect with me on that Facebook page too?
I'm going to. Okay. I'm going to right now.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
So it's on my Will Johnson page. I put the link there, and I know a lot of people are coming in and going out, but that people never seen it before. That is my page. I just want to put that out there. That is my page. Is Stop Domestic Terrorism.
And I always
our
think
friend
that
Linda,
because,
she's like
what happened to you guys on Facebook. It's all because you guys are so faithful unto the Lord.
Linda goes to Mar-a-Lago often here. She's like the Mar-a-Lago queen, I like to say. And she is our number one provider of all Trump swag. So we always appreciate you, Linda, with our little care packages.
You know, it's funny. Johnny says to me, do you have season passes to Mar-a-Lago?
I think you do.
And I say, you know what? I love it. I really enjoy. I think the way we all went separate ways, but it's been a blast just with you guys. And we've had some pretty hairy things out there,
adventures for
Shaniqua and all that stuff. But the names that Will has come up with are hilarious. Okay, Shaniqua and remember Pee Wee across in Oregon.
I mean, they make it easy. Every now and then, I get the little Trump thing, and I give them nicknames too. So Well, hey, Linda. Well,
We
thank
have
you
one
so
more
much.
caller.
Oh, you guys, I love you guys. Hey,
Love you,
come to
Linda.
California. We love you guys. We miss you guys. And come for a little vacation. You got mi casa, okay?
Okay. All right. God
Thanks,
bless.
Linda.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Love you guys. You guys
Love
take
you.
care. All
Take
right.
care.
Bye.
All right. Well, we
Okay,
have one.
Shannon, hold on. Before we go to the next caller,
Okay.
can I just read this really quick?
Sure.
And then we're going to go right back to the phone calls, okay, everybody? I just want to share some information with everyone on there. And this is a summary of the threat to the United States of America. This is something that's happening in our country. The ongoing Iranian conflict is causing a high tension threat environment in the United States of America. Low-level cyber attacks against the U.S. networks by pro-Iranian Hamas as well. You know, these people going around the cities right now. Hacktivists are likely, and cyber actors affiliated with the Iranian government may conduct attacks against the U.S. networks. Iran also has a long-standing commitment to target U.S. government officials it reviews as responsible for the deaths of Iranian military commander killed in January 2020. The likelihood of violent extremists in the homeland is independently mobilized by violence in response to the conflict that would increase the Iranian leadership to issued a religion ruling calling for the revolutionary violence against targets in the homeland. Multiple recent homeland terrorist attacks have been motivated by anti-Semitism, anti-Israeli statements, and the ongoing Israeli-Iran conflict could contribute to the U.S.-based individuals plotting additional attacks. So there's been so many discussions, so many talks about the sleeper cells possibly in the United States. It's not possibly the sleeper cells that are in the United States of America.
Yeah, and I don't know if people know this, but well, you and I just found out today while we were researching before we came on that one of the main reasons that Trump actually left the G7 was because he felt like there was an imminent threat for domestic terrorism. That's it. That's what is being reported. A couple of news articles that we found, and we were like, wow, we didn't even know that. Before the strike even happened on the nuclear sites, there was a threat. So let's go ahead and take this last caller, Will.
Hello, caller. What's your name?
Yeah.
Where are you calling from? You there, caller?
Hi, hello.
Hello. What's your first name? Where are you calling from?
I'm here. Yeah, hi. My name is Brody. I'm calling from Massachusetts.
You say Brody?
Correct.
Okay. How you doing, Brody? What do you think about all of this?
Yeah, I'm concerned about, terrorism going on here. I think Iran definitely is looking to do some bad things. But I sleep well at night and feel very assured that our new head of counterterrorism, a lot of people aren't familiar with him. It's a guy named Thomas, I think you pronounce his last name, Fugate. And Trump put him in place about a month ago. His background is stellar. He's 22. He graduated college just a year ago. He worked in a grocery store and he did landscaping. And oh, by the way, he's a big Trump fan. Don't you feel good having him doing counterterrorism for us?
Okay, I think this is a joke.
So I'm pretty sure there's more background to him than him working at a grocery store because.
No, that's about it.
Huh? No, I'm pretty sure there's more.
No, that's about it.
I'm pretty sure there's. So you mean to tell me that President Trump is taking someone with no experience, no information about anything, and putting him over the counter-terrorist unit of the United States of America?
That's right, you cultist.
Wow.
I'm glad you find it funny.
Wow. You know what? Because I don't believe you. It doesn't, you would admit it doesn't make any sense. So, would you say that the auto pen would do a better job then? We should just hand it over to the auto pen. Right?
Why don't we talk about Steve Witkoff's background? You want to talk about Steve Witkoff?
No, I'm just saying. So we should just hand it over to the auto pen because apparently you think that the auto pen could do a better job, right? Would you agree to that? That the auto pen could do a better job?
I mean, obviously Trump is the final say.
Compared to this 22-year-old, possibly. But how about, can we talk about Steve Witkoff?
What about Steve Witkoff?
The guy heading up all. Yeah, he's got an impressive background too. no background in diplomacy, no background in Iran or Russia and the other places he's dealing with, no background in foreign affairs, but he's really good at selling condos in New York City. Perfect background. For
Well,
these
isn't it
important
interesting?
negotiations, don't
Isn't
you
it
think?
interesting that like President Trump was never a politician?
Yep, I was just going to say
and
that.
President Trump comes into office and he's done better than every single president throughout
Obama,
the history
by the way,
of this
didn't
nation.
have much experience
I think
either.
you're proving a
Yeah,
point
so
here.
let's
Obama didn't have much experience
I
either.
think you're
Now-
onto something here. I
Yeah.
think you're onto something because
Yeah.
President Trump was not
Yeah.
a politician, and he's actually changing
and
the
Pete
country
Hegs-
for the better.
Absolutely.
I think you're onto something.
Maybe
I think
he
we
can-
should continue down this
Maybe he
path.
can put Kid Rock in charge of the economy.
Hey, you know what? Because I like that idea too, because everybody else that claims to be on top of the economy, claim to know everything, what's
It's
best for
taken us to where we
everybody.
are now.
They've done so much
Yeah.
damage.
Yeah.
Look at the guy that's over the
You're
feds
actually
right
making
now.
a really good case.
I mean, look at the guy over the feds
Well,
right
yeah,
now.
you're-
That we actually need people that aren't
Will,
normal,
what a great-
everyday politicians to run our country because they seem to be doing a far better
Yeah,
job.
let's hire people. Let's only hire people with no experience who have no clue what they're doing, like RFK Jr., like Tulsi Gabbard.
Is that the only thing
Only
you have?
the
Is that
best
your
people.
talking
wait a minute,
point? I just want to
would
make
you
sure
say,
this
would
is
you
the
say
talking
that
point.
Pete Hegseth, he doesn't have the qualifications either, correct?
No, I saw him do push-ups. He's awesome. He's got lots of experience. He's really good at push-ups.
Well,
And he
you
looks
know
good
what?
on TV too.
I think you know what I'm really happy to see is that President Trump was able to do the successful mission without any leaks coming out of the Pentagon. So that says a lot about Pete Hegseth. President Trump was able to successfully
Yeah,
do
and
this
to-
mission
yeah,
without
he stayed off
any
his
evidence,
signal.
without
Isn't that
any
great?
leaks coming out of the White House. They have actually got the government to function the way it's supposed to. And they've gotten rid of all of these people, these
Yep,
career
the leaks
criminal
happened because of
politicians,
the liberals that were
bureaucrats
still in place.
out of the way.
Yep, absolutely.
How about
Liberals were
Laura
in place.
Loomer?
They were
What
leaking
position
because
should
they're
Laura-
quite frankly anti-Trump. And now they were able to eliminate a lot of
position
those
should
jobs
Laura-
and positions.
What position should Laura Loomer be?
I mean, what position you
Where would
want her
you
to
put
be
Laura
in?
Loomer?
What position you want her to be in? I mean,
Oh, anything, 'cause
what
she's
does
brilliant.
Laura Loomer have to do with any
Yeah, I
of
was
this?
going to say, what does she have to do with anything?
Oh, she's only making personnel decisions for Trump. Nothing at all.
No, she's not making personnel
How
decisions.
clueless
She's
are you,
if she
Cole?
find it's the same thing
Sure she
with
is.
hold on.
What?
It's the
Why do you
same
think
thing that
Walt-
happened
why
with
do you think
Elon
Walt-
Musk. Elon Musk didn't have access to fire anybody. Elon Musk didn't have access to change anything. He found findings, the same thing that she's doing. She finds something, then she hands it over to the appropriate authorities under President Trump, and then President Trump makes the decision. Same thing he did with Elon Musk. Same thing. So she's not making decisions on anything.
Will, I don't care what your family members say. I don't think you're in a cult. I really don't.
What do my family members say?
What your family members?
Yeah,
They
you
think
just
you're out
said
of
you
your
don't care what my
friggin'
family
mind. That's
members
why they
say.
never
I
talk
don't
to
know
you.
what they're saying, so tell me what they're saying.
They think you're in a cult. Why would they
Really?
think that?
Really?
Yeah.
So let's get this straight. So I didn't drink the Kool-Aid, but I'm in the cult. I wasn't trying to force people to have papers, but I'm in the cult. How does that work? They were firing people because you wouldn't drink the Kool-Aid. They were firing people because you didn't have the Kool-Aid papers, and they were firing people because you refused to put a diaper on your face. But I'm the one in the cult.
Do you have any Trump signs on your lawn still?
I've never had a Trump sign on my lawn because the liberals like to destroy homes, like destroy vehicles.
Do you see Trump signs on lawns?
Here where I live, no, I don't, because there's a lot of liberals that will destroy their homes. They'll break the windows and key their cars and like Tesla burn them up. So we want to keep our property because liberals are destructive.
You should move to a lower economic area like a trailer park. There's lots of MAGA people there, and they all have Trump lawn signs.
Wow.
When is the last time you saw lawn signs for a politician not in the month or two before an election?
I see him for Beto, or used to. I saw him for Bernie Sanders.
Oh, you're so full of shit.
I saw him for Kamala Harris. Did he hang up?
Oh, you see Kamala Harris signs up
No,
still?
I used to. I mean, thank God we don't see them anymore. I still see them on people's vehicles. I'm so thankful we don't see those anymore. I guess people are too embarrassed to have them in their yard now.
Hey, stupid people had them up before the election. 6 months since the election, or 9 months, or whatever it is, the cult members still have their signs up.
Well, because President Trump is in office, he won the election. I mean, some radical leftist lunatic liberals, because you see an American flag hanging from a house, you're seeing, they're still supporting Trump when they're waving American flag. You don't see that as a problem?
Well, I'm old enough to remember when we all had Ronald Reagan lawns all over our signs. All 8 years he was in office, right?
Okay. So they're doing it here with Trump.
Same with George Bush.
And they're doing it with Trump. They did it with Obama. So why is it a problem with them doing it with Trump?
I hated Obama, and guess what? Nobody did that with Obama.
Oh, yes, they did. I lived in Arkansas at the time, really? And when I moved to California, people had Obama signs in their yard. Heck, wait a minute. Wait a minute. Before a minute. Wait a minute, hold on. And my producer, she can tell you this, and this is factual. Before I transitioned and God healed my mind from a Democrat to becoming a MAGA Republican, I had an Obama sign in my yard.
I was going to say that is so true. That's so true.
I had one. And I'm like, now I look back at it, I tell everybody because I learned from my mistakes. So what are you saying here?
I'm saying you're in a cult. I'm saying that Trump hires only the worst people, and we are screwed.
Well,
that
Brody,
we have utter morons and idiots like Thomas Fu. Do me a favor. When your show's over, why don't you go on Google or ChatGPT and go read up about Thomas Fugate? It's very impressive.
Well,
He's head of our counterterrorism.
I think I will look it up, but you know what? I think Tom Homeland, what he's doing, is doing a phenomenal job. So, well, Brody, look, Brody.
Noam's doing a phenomenal job. Rubio's doing a phenomenal job.
Brody, hold on, Brody. Yeah. Brody, I want to say thank you for giving me a call. I really appreciate your call. I really do.
You know, there are cult deprogramming programs out there. You might want to attend one.
Would you like to put me in a FEMA camp until I can be reprogrammed before I come back out in society? Would you like to see that?
No, because that's kind of what the Trump administration is
no,
doing
they're
to
not.
people right now.
No, they're not.
No,
are you suggesting that President Trump is picking up American citizens and deporting them? Are you suggesting that?
Oh, yeah, he's doing that, and anyone else that gets caught.
What American citizen has President Trump deported?
Prison too.
What American citizen has President Trump deported?
I can't give you the specifics
because there are none. There are none. I mean, come on, man.
I'm making it up.
Come on, you know there are none.
Hey, I don't look. Get these people all out of here. I don't care if they ship off some people that shouldn't be. I don't care as long as it's no one I know. I don't care if innocent people are thrown in El Salvador in jail. Just make sure it's no one I know.
MS-13 is not. They're not innocent people. They're not innocent people.
Not everyone they're sweeping up is in MS-13 or
well, everyone that they're sweeping up came in the country illegally. They're not innocent.
Right. Okay. Yeah. So they should be in an El Salvadoran prison, right?
Well, they anywhere but here.
Yeah. Now, put them in a. Yeah, I think we should put it. I think anyone coming here to look.
Now, if they want to come, sir, if they want to come the proper way, if they want to come legally, we welcome them. But if you come illegally, then you got to suffer the consequences.
And when we deport all these people, are you going to pick the crops?
That's racist. That is 100% racist.
Why is that racist?
Because what did the slave masters say about Abraham Lincoln freeing the slaves? Who's going to pick our crops? Who's going to do our lawns? Who's going to clean our clothes? Who's going to do these jobs that we don't want to do?
Actually,
that's the exact same thing that the racist white Democrats said in the past. And now here you're saying the same thing in 2025.
They actually came out and said that less than 1% of these illegals are actually picking crops.
It's the fact that you're saying
actually less than 1% of these illegals are picking crops. There's going to be absolutely no impact when these people leave. Most Americans are actually doing the jobs that these illegals are doing. That's an actual fact because there are more Americans here than there are illegals.
hey, stupid. Half the people.
Oh, hold on,
wait.
Hey. So look, we haven't said anything about calling you stupid or anything like that. So we're not going to do that. I mean, I appreciate you calling, but I haven't called you any names. Is that the liberal way? Because you start losing the argument, you start calling names.
I know you hate name calling because our president would never do such a thing.
No, but I haven't called. We haven't tried to disrespect you. So why would you resort to that? Is it because you're losing the argument?
I'm following Trump's lead.
Wait a minute, but so are you? So what you're saying is you're no better then? Is that what you're saying?
I'm a piece of crap like President Trump. Wait, I gotta go.
But I would tell you this: you are 100% racist for the very fact that you make that statement. You want slave labor. It's like liberals love slave labor. That is a problem. But thank you so much for the call.
Well, I think your kid should go pick the crops then.
You want slave labor. You want slave labor.
Yeah, what are your kids doing? They shouldn't go to college or something woke like that. Go have them pick crops.
I don't want to be indoctrinated because you send them there. You don't even know what a woman is. I mean, come on. You don't even know what a woman is.
Do an honest day's.
You don't even know what a woman is. Can you tell me what a woman is?
It's someone a biological male playing sports and for women.
So you can't even say it. Can't even bring yourself to say
quick,
it.
Can I ask you a question
This just shows that the disconnect from reality. There is a true disconnect from reality.
Regarding
disconnect.
Biological men and women.
And the main reason why you don't want to acknowledge what a woman is because of TDS. I mean, that's the reason why you don't want to do it.
It's pussy, all right?
I'm sorry?
It's a person with a pussy, okay?
A female that can bear children.
Only
women can bear children.
That's
it is
correct.
What it is.
Tell me something I don't know.
Obviously, you didn't know.
Why do you think I'm a Democrat?
I know you're not a Democrat. You're a Democrat.
Why do you think a Democrat, right?
Okay, I gotta let you go.
So yeah,
thank you so much. Thank you so much. I really appreciate the call, Brody. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Call again. I gotta let you go. Take care. Take care. All right. Wow. I do appreciate the call, but when you get the name calling because you start losing the argument, then it becomes a different subject. Okay, one more caller here.
Yeah, here we go.
Hello, caller. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Hello.
Hello.
My name is Gina. My name is Gina.
Gina. Where you calling from, Gina?
I'm calling from Washington State. Hate it here.
maybe you should trade places with Brody. But what do you think about all of this?
Well, I think this guy is full of crap that you just had on.
Uh-huh.
And I am a MAGA supporter, and I am a Trump supporter since 1982.
Wow.
And I'm sickened by these people that talk about the illegals. I was naturalized citizen since 1973. I came over at 1 year old, naturalized into a Naval Air Force family, American family. And I had to learn all the rights. I had to learn the Constitution. I had to learn what the flag meant. The 13 stars equal the 13 natural colonies. The 50 stars equal the 50 states. The red is for valor. The white is for purity. The blue is for loyalty. And I'm sick and tired of people that have the nerve to say that illegal aliens are allowed to be here. What is the point of me being a naturalized citizen? I want to slap these people, and I want to tell them that we did our rightful way.
Yes.
And the illegal aliens, for them to go to the cartel, that in itself is idiotic, completely idiotic. Why are you going to go to a gang member and say, I need your help to break a law?
Well, if you look at it right now, all of these liberals, they're all supporting the criminals. They're lawless. They don't like the law. They hate the law, actually. They even despise the Constitution unless they can find a way to weaponize it against the American people. But other than that, they don't like the Constitution. Why? Because it gives people like you, people like me, it gives us the rights. It gives us our rights, and they want to take it away.
Well, the other thing that upsets me too is how these white liberal Democrats, of all people, they are the most demonic of anybody.
Oh my goodness, and the most racist you can think of. I mean, listen
amen.
to listen to Brody just called in. He was sitting there saying that, well, who's going to pick your crops? I mean, my goodness, how do you not see how racist that is? They, you know what? They don't see it because they love slave labor. They want black people to be in bondage. This is what they really want.
It's not just black people. They want anybody that's not them to be in bondage.
Thank you.
It's anybody. 100%. But it started with the black.
Yep.
It started with the black man.
100% correct. You are 100%
and
correct.
That's what pisses me off about these kind of people is, you know, why doesn't he bring up Margaret Sanger? Why doesn't he bring up the fact that Margaret Sanger created the Planned Parenthood for 3 reasons and 3 reasons only? What are the 3 reasons? You could name them.
Yep.
You remember?
No, go ahead and name them.
Okay, the 3 reasons for Planned Parenthood created, which is just blasphemy. The first reason is to exterminate black people so that the population never progresses. The second reason is to exterminate, not to let ugly people have children. The third reason is not to let anybody retarded, meaning mentally disabled, have children. Those are the only 3 reasons. It's white supremacy only. And Margaret Sanger in 1917, she met up with Adolf Hitler, so Adolf Hitler could get the points from her for his German disgusting Holocaust thing. He needed pointers from her about how to do all this.
They actually loved Margaret Sanger. And the Democrats. I mean, wasn't it Hillary Clinton said that she looked at Margaret Sanger as a model, as a mentor?
Amen.
You know, so yeah,
she got the award. She got an award for it.
Yep.
She got an award for Margaret Sanger, and then on top of that, all these people, they don't want to bring up Margaret Sanger for the black people. Do you know that since 1995, over 19 million black people have been by abortion?
That's only the number that's been reported. That's only been the number that's been reported. So
exactly, and not only that, those are the two things that are leading of extermination of black people, except for black on black crime.
Yep.
Those are the top 2 reasons that black people have not progressed in the population. The reason I'm speaking on this is because the Democrat Party started for one reason, and one reason only, to keep slavery. That's the only reason it began.
And it's pure evil what they've been doing all this time. So, well, hey, thank you so much for the call.
I just wanted to tell you, I love watching you. I think you guys are excellent, you and your crew. I love how you get in these people's faces, and I love how you tell them the facts. Because naturalized citizens like myself are sick and tired of these people. My children are born here. I have 4 girls. They're all born Americans. They're American first. Your heritage, in my book, has nothing to do with anything. You're an American first.
Amen.
Thank you.
And we 100% agree with you.
Thank you. God bless.
And God bless you all.
Take care.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Okay, everybody. Wow. That hour went by so fast. Thank you so much for tuning in. I'm here Monday through Friday, same time at 11 a.m. Central. 11 a.m. Central, Monday through Friday. And just to let everybody know right now, if you're watching on Facebook, this is my page, okay? It is my page if you're watching on Facebook. And this Facebook page, you can bless me with stars if you so choose to. Just like on Rumble, the Rumble rants, you can bless me with Rumble rants. On YouTube, you can bless me with a super chat. And on Pill, you can bless me with gold pills. And on Facebook, again, you can bless me with stars. It is enabled on there. So thank you so much, everybody. God bless you. See you tomorrow. Look, I want to talk to everybody. You know what? I encourage Brody to call me back. God bless everyone. See you tomorrow.